we'll get to that, but I find that to be pretty pointless.
Okay, I guess we will get to that.
Hmm.
Um, I guess we forgot to mention the new raid boss in Barrett Hold last week also. So
Oh,
Oh, so now people can skip two bosses instead of just one.
yeah.
yeah.
Why do
Um,
those other two? Oh, we'll get to those. Hold on. Let's just get this one first, though.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what they say every time. This is what they're gonna say now. Hold on.
Go back.
We'll get it later. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And then half the raid leaves after down Akuthar right now, and now it'll be this as what
Eliz.
Alizabal or
Yeah. I was whatever his name is.
Is there gonna be
I
an
think I knew
achievement?
it.
Is there gonna be an achievement for killing all three of them within 60 seconds of each other?
I sure hope so, because that would actually be really fun. No, there won't be
Nope.
because you get locked in, so you would have to end up three manning the bosses. So
If we get like, oh my shit, you're fucking good. I mean, they got that one. I can't. That one achievement. I can't hear you over the sound of how awesome I am.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe they got one. It's just like I'm better than you,
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
and you have to
No,
one tank,
they're
one heal,
probably
one DPS.
gonna put out another boss after this one, anyways.
Oh yeah,
Make
definitely.
it basically new. What was the other one with the
Vault of
guys and giants and stuff?
Archon or whatever.
Vault of Arc. Yes, Vault of Arcmon. That's right. So they'll probably put a fourth one out, another demon with a bunch of tentacles and shit. That is, yeah, just a waste of time. But whatever.
Yeah. Well,
It'd
it's
be
not a
one of
waste
those.
of time if you get gear. So.
Yeah, but most of it's PvP gear anymore. You're looking at you got 10 classes with three different specs each, and PvP and PvE gear for both for all of them across the board. You're looking at. I mean, that's a shit ton of gear that could potentially drop. Not worth it to me.
Valor.
Yeah, that's all it is.
The
It's
Valor.
just a Valor pinata.
Well, Valor Pinata, shit, they're gonna make it to where Valor comes hella easy in the future, anyways. But
Yeah.
so you get three bosses down where you get Valor for those. I'd rather do. I mean, aren't they? Is this patch that they're changing the Valor accumulation
Yeah.
for dungeon?
Yes.
We'll
Yeah,
eventually
so
get into that.
well, right, but I would rather do dungeons anyways and do the three bosses once and then call it good. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
gonna raid, you're gonna raid, and Baradin holds not your Valor Pinata so much as Blackwing Descent or well, that's probably the best one because you actually get six bosses out of that
Yeah.
as opposed to only three. V3.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
However, you could probably down all three of those bosses in a 15-minute period.
You could, but
True.
people are gonna stand and fire. At least the people that are running
As a
Goldenrod
pod.
as a raid.
True. Well, I think that's dependent though. I mean, if you're going as a guild group, which I think they're trying to, get a lot of focus on the guild group runs, then you're not worrying so much about, you're probably going to have more of a cohesive group that's actually not going to be standing in fire as much on Argaloth as or on Akuthar as they would in a normal pug. But getting a group together that is a pug, which is most likely what's happening in Baradin Hold anyways, to actually go through all three bosses is going to be a pain in the ass. Even if it only takes 10 to 15 or 20 minutes,
Yeah.
still not going to happen. Want
Mhm.
the best of the best gear, they're going to go straight to, uh, what, Alizabel or whatever the hell the new one is going to be, and they're going to just skip the because they don't care.
Yeah.
The gear is obsolete on Argaloth as it is.
Yeah. That's true. All right.
And
So.
Argaloth isn't going to be putting out good enough gear by that time, so.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So, of course, on top of that, we have the Raid Finder project, and I went over that last time. But what's your thoughts on the Raid Finder axe?
Well, it's currently the first thing it's going to do is come out with only Dragon Soul available, correct?
Uh.
Yes.
I guess so.
Yep, it's gonna be the only one. Only Dragon Soul.
Well, I'm excited about it, but I have reservations. I'm not sure how it's going to actually work out. I mean, given the fact that Dragon Soul is how many bosses raid is Dragon Soul going to end up being? I don't remember. Off the top of my head. Is it
Eight?
six?
Eight?
Well, either way, The raid finder, I think it's great idea. I've been talking about this since they implemented the dungeon finder. I don't know if you guys recall that.
Yeah.
Because for some of us, we want to raid, and not everybody is capable of doing the same content. We've been running into that issue ourselves recently, so it would be nice to be able to get into the game, find a random raid group, and just do something. Even if I can only be on for an hour, I'm gonna feel a lot less, of a problem if I queue up for a random raid and leave after an hour if we're not done with a bunch of random people from other servers that I don't even know or care about, because I'll do that in a regular dungeon group because I have something I have to do, as opposed to get online and have a group formulate. And I mean, hell, guild groups or even pugs on the same server can take up to an hour or more just to form a group, let alone being able to down content. And then so many people are too intent on trying to do it their way, or my guild did this with X situation, so we should be more than okay, when it doesn't always necessarily apply. So I'm excited for the ability to actually do the content, because if my item level says I can do it, then I can get into a group, and worst case scenario is we fail, but whatever. My reservation on it, though, is everybody else that can get into that group too, who can potentially make it to where we failed. I mean,
Yeah. And
it's a crapshoot.
That's been my biggest question is, first of all, how is the kick system going to work on that? I haven't read anything on that. And on top of that, what about leaving the group? I mean, what's that kind of thing going to be? I wonder, because right now we have the 15-minute queue time in between queuing for dungeons, and if you leave group, you have the 30-minute debuff sometimes. And so
there is an extended cooldown. They're talking about it. I can't remember how long. It is longer, and I remember seeing it implemented as a spell. You can't queue up, and I think I remember seeing 3 different versions of it. One like a 6-hour, I think a 2 and a 3-hour.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not sure which one they settled on, but I do know it is going to be longer. It does take a larger majority of the raid in order to pick a person, and the time in between kicks is longer, which doesn't make sense on like groups of griefers. If you have like 2 or 3 in a raid that are just going to be D-bags.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe they'll have it to where you can initiate several vote kicks at the same time. Just click on several people's names and.
That'd be nice, but I don't think that's going to happen. Just Blizzard doesn't
Nah.
seem to realize that there are more than one D-bag per 5 people. I mean, how many groups have you been into where you get 4 random ass people you've never even seen before, different servers for everybody, and there's still 2 or 3 of them that are total douches that you.
Or all 4 of them are total now. All right. Well, after that nice little technical difficulty, what is that? That basically it for
Where did we break at?
health?
Raid Finder. Talking
Yeah.
about the pros and cons.
I like it. I like how they're dumbing it down. My big peeve with it originally was that it was you couldn't guarantee what you would always have there, and you can't always guarantee that hey, it's going to try to give you a priest somewhere in there, but you can't always guarantee that what if it's a shadow priest? What if that shadow priest doesn't want to do fear ward? And what if you don't have a shaman? I mean, what are you supposed to do about that situation?
Isn't it only going to be available for 25 man though?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's the likelihood that you're not going to end up with a shaman out of 25 people though?
I don't know. That's pretty rare, actually. Yeah, we play Horde. That shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
LOL at Alliance, but they don't count as people.
Yeah. No. They
Well,
are.
no, but now with mages having time warp, and I mean, what's a shaman really offer other than a couple of totem buffs that, I mean, I don't know. I think it won't be too much of an issue as far as group composition. What I do see happening is not enough, just not getting enough people to do it after so long of it being implemented. The first couple of months is going to be amazing. There's going to be all kinds of groups happening. You'll get in the group immediately, but give it a couple of months and it's going to die down just like everything else does. So it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it depends on the amount of alts that run back through it, how comfortable people are taking their alts to the content. I think
Well,
that's going to be the big dividing factor.
Well, that's true, but hopefully, my hope is that it will be a big enough hit in Blizzard's eyes that they're going to actually implement more dungeon or more raids rather for the raid finder in order to make it to where our alts can actually progress to that point. Because we know as well as everybody else that content that is previous patches and below is dead to the world. I mean, you can't hardly find anybody who's running Bastion of Twilight, Blackwing Descent, Throne of Four Winds right now because Firelens is out. You go into the next patch where it's going to be Dragon Soul. Firelens will be moderately to occasionally run at best. Dragon Soul will be run regularly, and the other three, Blackwing Descent, Bastion of Twilight, and Throne of Four Winds, will be pretty much obsolete.
Yeah, they'll be like Nax,
But
yeah, exactly.
You won't be doing that in your gear progression on your alts anymore. Now your gear progression will be going as soon as you hit level 80. You do what everybody else does right now, which is just jump straight in the heroics because they do. So you do that. And then after that, you get your Justice Point gear. You get maybe one or two Valor pieces. You start running trolls or what? Yeah, I'm not sure the difficulty of the new ones, so you may have to run trolls to get more Valor points, to get maybe one or two pieces of Valor. But the Justice Point gear is going to be really good. So once you get the Justice Point, which is the new Valor gear, you get all that. The plus the Justice Point gear, which is available right now, you'll have a pretty good setup. There's a Valor helmet available, I think I saw, I'm pretty stoked about that. So you'll be able to get a pretty decent set, and you'll be able to jump straight into the raid finder after just doing maybe like a week or two of dungeons. So there's no need to do those old raids anymore.
No, but I would still like to have seen them at least start with Firelens available in addition to Dragon Soul. Just for those of us who, we'd like to see the Firelens content. We may very well get to the point that we're able to see Dragon Soul too, and with the Raid Finder we'll be able to accomplish that. But it's not going to change the fact that, after a period of time, it's gonna be a drain on us. Can you run in 3 new dungeons over and over like we did with the trolls? I mean, hell, we got burned out on those trolls really, really fast. I mean, I Valor capped for 11 weeks straight, only trolls. I mean, that's hard to do. I mean, it gets tiresome. So it'd be nice if it was broken up with something else. And having 3 new dungeons plus the Raid Finder with only Dragon Soul kind of limits me in what I can do to try and get to that Valor cap every week, though, too. So if they offered Firelens, I think that'd be a great idea, because even though your alts or even your mains might skip that progression because of the new content coming out, I think people might still enjoy doing it nonetheless. Not to mention the legendary staff potential out of there too.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But I think that's enough about the Raid Finder. I mean, there's still a lot to it. I mean, we still have, 2 weeks until it will finally come out. Hopefully. But I guess we'll find out. We'll see how well it works when it actually comes out. Yeah. Another main thing with 4.3, of course, is transmog. For those of you who don't know, that will allow us to change pieces that we want to have for the stats into the look of a different item. I'm all for this. More character customization I'm totally down for that. Yeah, it's a money sink, but without the ability to dye your clothes like just about any other MMO RPG has out there, it really sets, me apart from another druid that's wearing T11, or, another hunter that's currently wearing the Zul'Gurub shoulders. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell from a distance, and I like the fact that we're able to change ourselves with the exception of PvP. I think that should transmog should be turned off for PvP. But other than that, what's your guys' takes on that?
Well, Project, you want to go first, or?
Yeah, sure. You got like 20 minutes?
No, we've got like 5.
Oh, crap. Okay. I would like to thank the Academy. No. Transmog. I'm stoked about it. I don't care in PvP because, be honest, if you want to trick somebody, you're just going to eat a Deviate Delight. Because I don't know what class a skeleton is. I
do.
I can't tell.
I hit V. I can tell.
Yeah. Well, you can hit V if I'm transmog too.
But I can't tell what type of gear you're wearing. Are you wearing just hit level 85 gear? Are you wearing top notch T or season 11 gear?
Why does it matter? Are you think about it as StarCraft? Same reason why people use little Lobby photos to like try to hide their rank. Everyone's going to do that anyways. People are going to transmog into whatever they want. It's just something you can't guarantee anymore.
Yeah, and that I don't like that. That's my point about it. If not in random battlegrounds, because random battlegrounds are random battlegrounds, and you're going to lose or win just depending on how well people are geared in the numbers, and how much they're willing to communicate. At the very least, competitive arena, because that does make a big difference. You know, you can't use tons of shit in arenas. So if you can transmog in arenas, that's just utter bullshit, in my opinion.
If you're not bringing your A game, why are you even there? Why are you trying? Why are you trying to play lesser? Because I mean, all that does is lead people into lull. I mean, you're just saying you can't lull people into a false sense of security with the transmog thing. In PvP, everyone's got the same gear anyways. It doesn't really matter what it looks like, and I think it's kind of garbage even on the battlefield that I got to look like Joe Schmo over here. I don't like it. I don't mind it, even in competitive battlegrounds. I mean, especially in competitive battlegrounds, because everybody does have the exact same gear sets. So this finally will add some flavor to competitive battlegrounds instead of just seeing, oh, look, it's another rogue, another mage, and another priest. And they looked just like the last comp. I mean, now you're going to be like, oh, you know, it's a rogue mage and the priest, but, you know, these guys got different gear, or that dude's holding a frying pan. He can't, but that would be cool. Blizzard, let us do that. Hint.
Well, how about you, Action? What's your opinion on all of this?
To be completely honest, I think it's a huge money sink. I don't think it's not going to be worth it to me because, frankly, we've all seen the gear sets of the last 13 gear sets, and frankly, there's at best one for the rogues that might even be worth transmogging into. For the druids, there's one that's yet to come that might actually be decent enough. And frankly, for druids, I don't see why anybody even gives a shit what you guys look like when you're wearing your form.
Exactly.
So character customization, as far as that's concerned, if there was more than 2 colors per cat and 2 colors per bear, you'd be good. But there's not. So
yeah, there's 3.
Pretty much SOL on that. Oh, sorry, 3. But still, you guys are SOL as far as character customization is concerned. There, I don't think that transmogging or changing the look of my shoulder pads and my helm to one from BC or from Vanilla WoW makes a damn bit of difference to me, because frankly, if it looks cool, but it's not worth the money drain to me, when in all honesty, I would rather be able to take my current brand new gear and just change the color scheme of it, and I'd be happier with that.
Yeah.
Overall, my happiest I could ever be with character customization is let me be a brown orc.
They have that.
I mean,
you can pick a Magahar.
No, it's not really a true Magahar. Come on, dude.
Give me a second. I'm going to character customization right now. Hold on, let me log in.
Okay. Aside from the Magahar, though, not only being a brown orc, but give give actual like different skins for each of the races. I don't care. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me what they are. Just give us more of an option to be something different. I mean, they've instituted so much change and progression for each of the races that now there's no reason that we should be stuck being the new Azeroth orcs as opposed to being Mag'har or being stuck as a Tauren when we now have the Tonka are part of the Horde. Um, so I don't know. I mean, that's kind of far fetched. I think there's a lot that would have to be done for that as opposed to just doing transmog. But the transmog to me is kind of a waste of time.
I think that's brown.
No, that's dampened green.
Yeah.
PC.
Either way,
Thank you to Oz for having actual eyesight and
Shush,
being-
that is brown.
that is so. I know this the color of skin that you're looking at project, and that is not brown. That is not.
You guys
no.
suck.
Make that work and go out to Nagran and stand next to any of the Garadar guards, and you'll see what I'm talking about. They are not the same color.
I have to level all the way. No.
Yes.
No, don't really.
I got a better idea. Axe, just character customize yours.
No.
Pay for me to character customize mine.
Okay, let's get off of this.
Anyways, back to the transmog thing. Overall synopsis for that, as far as I'm concerned, I will use it if I find gear that's just awesome. I have a shield that I think is great, but I think it's a waste of time. I think it's going to be a waste of money.
Mhm.
I think that they're putting too much limitations on it. I can only change my plate gear into other plate gear, and of course the only tier sets I have available to me are a warrior because I'm a warrior. So it's not like I can change into Pally or DK gear, even though the DK has some of the better tier sets like ever.
Oh no, Warriors got like 2-3 really good sets. Really good.
They have a couple of decent ones, but honestly, the warrior gear and me haven't agreed so far.
Yep. You never love the set of gear that your main class is because it is your main class and you have your expectations for your main class.
Yeah.
No.
But truthfully, I think if I can't transmog my two-handed sword into a two-handed axe to make it look like a two-handed axe, even though it's still a two-handed sword, it's not going to be worth it to me.
Yeah. All right. So we all have our little own opinions on transmog, but if we find that cool piece of item, we will probably transmog it. My biggest thing about it is, obviously, I'm not going to use it on any lower tune. It'll be just top geared stuff, but whatever. So let's go ahead and go to another big thing, which is void storage. That lets us store stuff in quote deep storage in quote system. It's like an extra 100 slots or something like that.
Waste
Waste of gold.
No.
Ah,
How could you guys say that?
I was just repeating what Axron said there. That wasn't my opinion on it.
Lies. You're just switching sides now. You're a sucker.
No, I like the idea of void storage if you have the gold, which I know you do.
I want somewhere to put my pilgrim hat.
Exactly. I mean,
That is not inside my freaking bank.
I have a bank for a reason. That's where my shit goes. To be honest, I've never had a bank tune. I don't feel that there's a necessity to have a bank character. I don't have enough stuff in my guild or in my own personal bank that I must keep or I have to have. I mean, I cleared it out once, and literally I had a bunch of crafting mats from like the level 20 blacksmithing. It was wasting my time, so I got rid of it. Beyond that, the void storage is only good for gear. It's not good for any of the other stuff. So it's, I mean, yay! So I can set aside my Brewfest hat and my, Fire Festival slippers and stuff. But in all honesty, it's not. Well, I won't use it. I don't see a purpose in it. I see where PvPers or even PvEers or RPers especially will get a lot of, use out of it in the fact that they'll be able to store various gear sets. What I don't like though is from what I understand, or at least this is a rumor about it, is that it will remove any of the enchants on it. Is that correct still?
Yes.
See,
Yep.
and that's arguably the number one reason that I would not use it.
I see it. I like it. I need a place to keep all my because I keep all of my holiday gear, so
I've
that's
kept
the
everything
problem.
from
My
the
entire
holiday.
bank's filled.
I've
Yep.
kept everything from the holiday events myself as well, but I mean, I have one character, one bank, and anywhere from 16 to 22 slot bags on myself and in my bank, and I'm not out of room in my bank.
I have crap tons of toys, like all those clickies. Anything that does something nifty in the game, I still have that. If you can click it and it does something cool, I kept it. And so my
Right.
entire bank is filled up with those. Lots of card game clickies, old clickies from events that aren't around anymore. I hold on to all those. So
But
that
those won't go in storage. Honestly, how much gear do you have extra in your bank? In your bank? I mean,
I'll,
really, honestly.
I have a lot. I have a lot of RP gear. A lot of RP gear. Think of just all the different sets of gear that I cycle through for different events. I
That's
mean, I got my mariachi set. I mean, I got my pilgrim set, my fire
fair
festival
enough.
set. Uh,
Well, for the people who are gonna have various gear sets, especially an RP set and stuff like that, I see the purpose in it for them. Me personally, I won't waste any money on it. I will never. I won't even know where the void storage guy is in Orkmar. I won't care.
he's going to be
It
right
doesn't
next to
appeal
the
to me at all.
enchanter. He's going to be right next to the reforger. He's going to be like, you
Actually,
Yeah,
have to use
I,
me, Axe.
I don't like
actually,
reforging my stuff either.
the Reforger is moved from near the Enchanter to a different location.
Either way, I don't like reforging my stuff either. So
Me, it's whatever. All right, so bigger bank if we want to use it and want to spend the gold. Ah, shit. Excuse me.
How can you not like reforging your gear, Axe? I'm going to stab you.
Well,
um,
we're not talking about reforging, so.
I will hack the frickin' thing. Oh, never mind. All right, back on topic.
All right, so just a bigger bank for us who have the gold and want to use it, want to throw their shit in there.
that is only good for gear.
Okay. Outland and Northern Quest flow is getting changed in 4.3. They are nerfing the percentage for 71 through 80 by approximately 33%. And mini
God.
group quests in Outland and Northern have been retuned to be able to be soloed, as well as relative quest givers for dungeons have been moved inside of the dungeon like they are in Azeroth.
Awesome.
So,
That's amazing. All of that is great.
all of that, everything.
Everything.
No,
I,
no one likes
I
Outlands.
can't stand.
So
Yeah, I can't stand
Outland
Outland.
sucks,
I actually like
Out-
Outlands more than Northern, just to be honest.
but it's just more of an excuse now for people to never ever leave Ogrimmar.
Yeah, that's well, okay, yeah, because they are nerfing the experience needed. I think a better way to counter that would be increase the experience that you get from quests to actually get people to actually go out to Northern still and get the same effect. But
See, I have a problem with, especially with Outland. I get to Outland and I hate questing so much in Hellfire that I do dungeons and I literally will dungeon my way to 65, and I still have quests in Hellfire because I haven't done any quests. So
What's up there?
that what's that?
What, me?
yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Oh no, ignore me. Ignore me.
You
I'm
should mute
laughing.
your mic.
Sorry.
anyways, so I really I can't stand leveling in Outland. I It's just really not my flavor. I like the lore to it, but that's about it. Honestly, the questing out there is just aggravating to me.
Yeah.
Northrend doesn't bother me as much, but it's still, you know, been there 6 times. I'm on my seventh with one character. The other 3 characters that have the level are in Outland now. You know, that's just it's a pain in the butt. I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. Being able to go through it a third of the time faster is be awesome.
Well, how
and being able to, what?
well Outland, the experience or the speed of Outlands is not getting increased. You're not going to get through Outlands any
Right.
faster. It's just the group quests are getting different, and then obviously the quests for the dungeons, which will speed you up a little bit. So
Right. Well, that right there is what's going to make it better to me, is because I do dungeon the first,
yeah,
you know, of the 60 through, or the 58 rather, through 68 in Outland anyways. I dungeon like crazy. And being able to do all the quests just right there inside of each of those dungeons, because I don't usually get to questing in Zanger Marsh. In fact, I hate Zanger Marsh. I try to avoid it at all costs.
yeah,
And in fact, the last 2 times I've been through Outland with Toons, I go from Hellfire to Nagrand to Northrend. I don't even hit anything else.
yeah.
So having quest givers inside of the dungeon is going to be great, and in Northrend as well, because honestly, getting Utgard Keep while you're questing in Borean Tundra really sucks, because you can't go and turn in those quests very easily. So,
Yep.
that'll
So,
be nice.
I mean, I don't think anyone's really going to complain about, less time. Here's a little note on character names: is that in North American realms, excluding Brazil, Latin America, and Oceanic realms, you are no longer allowed to use accents in your name or guild names. Existing characters and guild names with special characters will be unaffected by this change. So if you, do have that special character in there, what do you guys think about that?
Well, I'm tired of those special characters because I don't know how to do them. So when somebody said like, "Oh, hey, add my other character to the guild," and they tell me the name, I can't do shit about it. And honestly, I don't want to try and figure out how to do special characters. I do kind of wish that if they were gonna now suddenly crack down on the special characters, that they should it should affect the existing characters. Personally, there's no reason that it should be okay for somebody who's already got the character to have special characters, but not allow it still. If they're gonna remove that ability, they should remove that ability straight up.
Yeah. How about you, Project? What do you feel on this change?
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to just be, they used to just flag you for a name change whenever you're reported, but the reports were just too many. They could never ever get to them, so they just stopped
Yeah.
dealing with them. It messes up the mail system for them when they're trying to deal with reports and stuff like that, actually having to track down the right person. Especially cross-realm. There's so many, so they have to actually track the person back, but
So
I see it makes sense. I mean, they're not taking away my name, and I mean, I'm just gonna have to try to find better names, I guess.
yeah, that's
I'm just gonna have to be XXX Wolverine, XXX.
yeah. I mean, what are they? Do you think they'll ever do a character name cleanup?
No.
No, never.
Oh yeah. Well, eventually, but I wouldn't expect it till after Mists.
Oh yeah, no. There's still tons and tons of names, but eventually, I mean, currently you probably can't come up with a name with rogue inside of the name or anything that's like sneaky in its name. It will be taken unless you do some really messed up spelling of everything. And I think that's my biggest thing about it, is that unless they do a character name cleanup in a year or two, they're going to run out of names, and people will start complaining on the forums about that.
I
I'll see.
personally, I think I agree with you with running out of names without having special characters. But what I feel they should do is, instead of allowing or removing rather special characters in their entirety, I think that they need to allow apostrophes and hyphens. Personally, I've thought
Yep.
this from day one. And especially on any realm that is an RP realm, RP PvP or just RP realm, straight across the board. Special characters, I don't really care about them, but they need to have a more, even if it's not necessarily a realm that actually gets any RP happening, they should have a more strict naming policy on those realms, especially. PvP realms, I don't give a shit. Name yourself, laser chicken pew pew, whatever the hell you want it to be. But uh, but on an RP server, there should be more stringent rules applied to the naming of the characters, and they should look into it more and do a cleanup on those realms, especially. And should come, if there's a questionable name, then the player should have the opportunity to challenge it and argue as to the validity of that name for an RP name. But I don't feel that. I mean, I realize something like that would take a lot of time, but I really think that they need to put more effort into making an RP realm more of an RP realm than they have, and that they do.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're all on the same page as that. We don't really mind losing special characters. It's not that big of a deal.
Doesn't affect.
Yeah. I mean, I don't use any on any of my characters, I don't think, so it really doesn't bug me. So I guess we're to general class changes. We have a few achievement things, but that's whatever.
Well, that's it is so.
We have a change that is that all raid and party buffs, which grant members 10% increased attack power, have been changed slightly. They continue to provide 10% increased ranged attack power, but now provide 20% increased melee attack power. What do you think the point of that change is for?
Melee is underappreciated right now.
Yeah. How about you, Proj? Do you feel you're being cheated because you're a hunter? You are ranged.
Yes, I'm being cheated, but only because I want my numbers to be even way bigger than the melees than they are now.
Yeah.
And I think this brings the melee numbers closer to mine, and I don't like that.
Let's see. Why is it a competition?
Because I have a small penis, and this helps me make up for that.
All right, let's move on before this gets too vulgar.
Yeah.
They are changing threat again. It seems that it no longer ramps up slowly at the beginning of a fight.
That's vengeance.
Yeah, and so their vengeance is now equal to 33% of the damage taken by that attack. In addition, as it updates periodically during the fight, it is always set to at least 33% of the damage taken by the tank in the last 2 seconds. Is that really any that big of a change, or?
Honestly, I don't even know what vengeance does right now, and I'm a tank. I just see vengeance pop up, and I'm like, oh, cool. Because honestly, I'm a warrior tank, and my DPS is the shit end of the stick all the time. So the vengeance really doesn't change anything as far as I'm concerned, because I do more damage, but my 2.7k DPS goes up to like 2.8k. I mean, I think it's actually more like 5k, but right now. But either way,
Yeah.
I'm like way below the lowest DPS across the board, unless that lowest DPS is like 10 levels below me and is fighting with a gray weapon that they got at level 5. Because honestly, warrior tank DPS is garbage right now.
Yeah, but
compared to a Blood Death Knight or a Bear Druid or even a Prot Pally seems to be pulling out more DPS. So
how
maybe you can reforge your gear.
on that note, my gear is reforged, jackass.
Okay, how about this change, Axrin? Threat generated by classes in active tanking modes has been increased to 500% damage done, up from 300%. So
they need to stop threat. They need to stop fucking with threat, honestly. to be completely honest, tanking in BC was great. Tanking in Wrath was like retarded. It was easy. Tanking in Cataclysm is pretty close to the same way right now. I don't know how many times I've AFK tanked things. I mean, I AFK tanked the variant.
That was great.
So
Oh my god, you were amazing. I couldn't believe that, dude. You're just like a brick wall. You just stopped taking damage. And I was like, what's going on, man? He's just insane. He's a monster. And then you were like,
But-
all of a sudden it came back.
yeah, but that's part of the problem with that is, you know, we went through a period of time where it was really hard to keep aggro, but that was because our DPS didn't understand that they needed to wait until we got aggro. That was great. Honestly, I would prefer to have my DPS get shot in the face and die than and because they're doing something wrong than for me to be able to walk in and go, you know, and like wiggle a finger at the guy and have him suddenly be like, "Oh my god, I hate you so much that he doesn't care about anything else going on around me."
Yeah.
Little unnecessary to boost it up, you know, so extreme. I mean, 500% threat generated. That's huge.
That's
you know?
ridiculous. I mean, 300% was ridiculous. I mean, the first time I ever tanked was Council, and we did just fine in that fight. I mean,
yeah. But I mean, when you're looking at it, you go in and literally you do nothing. I mean, you all you have to do is hit the guy, and you pretty much have him. I mean, you're sitting at like 2,400% on the threat generator. It's ridiculous. You know, I mean, nobody can keep up with you. But the problem that actually is coming up with them fucking with threat so much is when you have a dual tank system, and one tank is tanking the guy, and then turn around and you're supposed to taunt off as an off tank at 4 stacks, 5 stacks, whatever debuff. The problem is you can't get threat off of the other tank because he's generating so much goddamn threat, and he started tanking the guy, so he's generated so much more threat than you. So unless he stops all DPS and does nothing, and you taunt and continuously taunt because you got vigilance on him, that's about the only way you're going to get him off and keep him off. So
yeah.
And in bosses like Akuthar, where he has a stacking debuff put on somebody because he just blasted the hell out of you, Argoloth, same deal, where you take more damage if he does that same attack on you again. It's kind of important to be able to get that aggro off and be able to keep it. And with the changes of threat, it's causing a lot of problems as far as that's concerned, in my experience. I don't know if that's the same for other tanks, but I'm a warrior tank, so we kind of got the shit end of the stick across the board.
Yeah.
Good experience.
All right. So, apart from that, spells which have an effect broken by taking damage past the threshold, an example being Entangling Root, Sphere, Frost Nova, etc., now count damage that was prevented by damage absorbs or other damaging reducing effects.
Why?
Hell if I know.
I don't understand the reasoning behind that, honestly. So now you Entangling Root somebody and they have a bubble on them, and now it's going to count the damage absorbed by the bubble before it breaks Entangling Roots. I don't think that's fair, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't play any classes that have those kind of effects anyways. I mean, I have a shout, and I don't use it, so but I don't PvP either, so I don't know how much of the issue that this really is. But I can tell you from playing a level 62 Warlock in PvE and PvP settings, I fear somebody and he's got dots on him. It's not very long that it takes him to turn around and come back after my ass because he's not feared very long. He takes that damage pretty quick, and it breaks fear real quick, and it's not enough to kill him before he turns around and comes and rapes my face. So, why they would then include the damage prevented by absorbs, I don't understand. You know, I didn't think that those kind of crowd controls in PvP were causing too much of an issue. So, but I don't PvP, so I don't really know.
All right, so now we've reached the section of the PTR notes that are all about classes. How do you guys want to do this? Want to just go down the list and hit every class real quick, or?
Well, this part is going to be a little shaky for a lot of us because, frankly, we have our mains and we don't necessarily play some of the other classes, so we're going to have to give a rundown on it, but there might not be a whole lot we can actually say about them. So,
Well,
All
do
right.
we want to do that this week or do we want to do that next week?
don't matter to me.
Because we're, what, 53 minutes in? Post break. So pre-break, we're probably at what 68 minutes total.
I don't know.
Well, do we want to drop down past the class changes? Just start down on dungeons, raids, guilds, items, races, and then leave user interface and the classes for next week.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds good for me. All right, so down at the dungeons and raids, we have the dungeon journal entries have been added for the new stuff. Obviously, that's
Woo.
no big surprise there. Players who use Dungeon Finder for a random heroic dungeon will no longer be locked to that instance. So basically, we could do a random dungeon and then specific queue up for that same dungeon. So what do you guys feel on that?
It's kind of cool. I mean, what's nice about that is I can do my random dungeons, and now that they're all going to be basically on a par with our Valor Point games, I can do my random dungeons, and then when a group of people come together and say, "Hey, let's go do our achievement runs," we can actually go and do the achievement runs without being, oh, I can't go there because I'm locked out or anything like that. So, I like it. I can see where it's nice, but it doesn't really. It's kind of a circumstantial thing.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Praj? Any thoughts on that?
I like it. I'm stoked. I think like Axe said, I mean, it's nice to be able to run it whenever I want, and then be able to not waste my lockouts for the guild on the weekend. I can run it all week long, and practice. And I think it's actually going to be awesome to see how this works for server first. If you actually see the guys from Paragon using Raid Finder to practice and get it like down to a T before using their raid lockout.
This is Dungeon Finder, not Raid Finder.
I thought you were talking about Raid Finder. Isn't it the
No.
same section?
No.
It's under Dungeons and Raids, but this is only speaking of the Dungeon Finder tool for random heroic dungeons.
What are you doing?
Oh, that's fucking amazing. Are you kidding me? So I can actually just purposely go in there afterwards, even if I didn't get loot?
No, it just means you're not locked out to it, so it's not like you have to wait a whole day before you can do it again, like specific queue for it. You randomly queue, you get, hit your random queue, and after your 45-minute DPS queue wait, you end up with, let's say, Zolomon. And then you turn around and Ren and I log in and we're like, hey, let's go do Zolomon and get the bear for you. You will be able to go with us, because specifically queuing, you'll be able to go. Because you random queued before, you won't be locked to it. Whereas currently, you random queued, you got Zolomon, and now you're locked out to it if you tried to specifically queue. But you could continuously random queue for it. So now the random queue will not lock you out if you try to specifically go to that set dungeon. That's all.
Yep.
That's awesome.
It's circumstantial. I mean, it's nice. It's not a bad change. It's just it's circumstantial.
Mm-hmm. All right, they changed the runes of of Anchorage. They changed the runes of Anchorage. Bosses now drop a rare quality scarab coffer key. This is basically because in 4.2 they got rid of keys. That was 4.2, right? Was that 4.2?
It was before. I don't know.
4.1. Anyways, when they got rid of keys, they got rid of the scarab coffer keys, and that slowed down people getting rep, including myself and Project's wife, and that kind of pissed us off about that. But they're finally fixing that in a way, so that's nice. Not sure how much that affects you guys.
It affects me. I'm doing that rep right now.
Yeah. Zul'Gurub, players now only have to kill 2 of the 4 initial dungeon bosses. The example being High Priestess Vinox and Blood Lord Mandicure. Sorry, couldn't read his name. And then you can go straight to Jindo the Godbreaker. So you don't have to kill all 4 bosses to go to them. You just have to do 2, and then you can skip straight to them.
I think I'm finally
They're
going to
doing
be
the
able to.
same with-
Go ahead, Axe.
Sorry, I was just saying they're doing the same thing to Zolomon, where you only have to kill 2 of the 4 troll avatars before you can place Hexlord Malacras.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same concept between both. You only have to do 2 of the 4 bosses before you can continue on, whereas before you had to kill all 4 before you can go to the next.
Yeah. And Zulamon's a little different because I'm sure there's still people, once they do get their gear, they will be rushing to down all the bosses in the, 45 minutes total that you get to do to get the bear. So, what do you guys feel on this change on both of the dungeons?
I think I'm actually going to get that one quest done. The one to save all the dudes. And I don't have to wait till the bear mount run.
Mm-hmm.
That quest is
that's
cluttering
true.
up my quest log.
Well, actually, the problem you're going to have with that project is everybody will hit Eccleston, the Eagle guy, and they will skip it, and then they will hit Halazi. They won't even touch Nalarak or Janalai.
No, I
Those two.
only need that last one.
Well, fair enough, then that'll work in your favor, but there's not going to be any reason to go to the bear boss or to the Dragonhawk boss unless somebody specifically needs gear, and that somebody has to be the tank in order to have that happen. Because if you get in there and that tank is like, nope, screw that, I don't want to go over there, it's too hard, it's too much work, hit up Eccleston, you get, 1, 2, 3, 4 pulls, boss, and then cut through the water, and then 6 pulls, boss, and then you're on to Hexlord Malacras.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to otherwise where you have 2 different groups of trash on the way to Nalarak that generally wipes groups, and then Janalai, the Dragonhawk boss, typically wipes groups. So I can see where that whole section is going to be skipped on almost every random run.
Yeah. What do you guys think the real purpose behind all this is?
Faster Valor points.
All right. Well, with the changes with the Valor points is that you can do any of the heroics. You can do the new Dragon Soul ones. You can do the Zul'Mins, or you can do the normal heroics, and they all give the same amount of Valor points at the end. So, I mean, my theory about the point of this change is just to bring the time limit of doing Zul'Gurub and Zul'Min down to doing somewhere like, I don't know, Grim Patrol, where once we get the gear, there will be no trash except for the second boss.
Well, I agree with you on that. I think that currently with the changes that they're making to the Valor Point games and to the trying to get everybody, you don't want to change it to where the trolls become completely obsolete because they do take longer to do. What really does irritate me about this is I hate dungeons that make it to where you can skip bosses. I've always hated them. I will continuously hate them because honestly, I cannot tell you how many times I have run 2 bosses in Halls of Stone or 3 bosses in Halls of Origination when I needed the justice points, or I really wanted the justice points. Can't tell you how many times that's happened. It really pisses me off when people skip bosses, and now they're just facilitating that. Honestly, Zul'Gurub, if you know the fights, Venoxus is an easy fight if you know how to do it. That's all it takes, and it's a positioning fight. Anything. Bloodlord Mandakir, ridiculously easy. You're supposed to die and be brought back. It's an instant reset on mana. It sucks if your buffs get reset. Big deal. For rage users, it does kind of suck because you are set back to 0. But when you're a warrior tank, that's a little inconvenient. But typically, it's not the warrior tank that's getting killed.
Yeah.
Princess Kilnara, she can be a problem, but if you manage your ads well enough, it's not too much of an issue. Zanzil, as long as the rest of your group can figure out what the hell they're supposed to be doing and get the cauldrons at the right time, it's not that hard. Jindo is still going to be the hardest encounter in that dungeon. As far as Zolomon's concerned, timed runs will be a thing of the past. Obviously, the more gear progression happens, the more likely people are going to start coming out with those bear mounts all the time. It will be nice for those of us who haven't been able to get a bear run done. You'll actually be able to finish that quest off. But again, you're going to have people skipping Nalarak and Genelite so that they can only hit Akelzon and Halazi in order to do the two easier bosses and go
Yeah.
straight to a Hexlord now. Yes. So I see the point in it, but it does really irritate me that they do that kind of stuff. So whatever.
All right. So on from that, we have a change to the guild standards. First of all, they are now usable in Firelands again because apparently they were too OP in Firelands before. The duration has been increased to 15 minutes, and the effect now has a 100-yard radius, and now affects dead players. If you recall, the cooldown on the highest tier of the guild standards is 15 minutes. So basically, you can always have that. What is it? 100%? How much is the increase on that? 50%? 25? What? I think it's 15.
Yeah.
I think it's 5, 10, 15. So you can always have that 15% buff on top of the 10% buff that you get for being in that level 25 guild. I guess it's a minor change, but
Well, I think it's an excellent change.
yeah. But if anything, why make it have a duration or a cooldown at all?
I don't know.
Uh,
That doesn't make sense. I don't understand why either, but I like the fact that that it affects dead players. That's nice. The duration being increased is amazing because honestly, a 2-minute duration was just ridiculously low. And the only time those guild standards are really truly useful are what? Well, that's guild rep that it affects only, or just whatever rep you're generating.
all rep.
All rep. Okay, so the only time that we've actually used them regularly has been when we're running old school stuff, getting rep for those, which is really nice in those circumstances. But
Hi,
overall, although 15-minute duration, it might not have a whole lot of purpose. So either when you think about it, I mean, under what circumstance are you standing in one spot for 15 minutes, except for in Mount Hyjal?
But it is a 100-yard radius now.
Third radius, but still, unless you post one up at Shanox and then run over and do Rhyolith and then run over and do Beth Talak, if that's within 100 yards, I don't think it is.
No, but you could theoretically get in Firelands. I mean, 15 minutes of trash is all in a 100-yard radius. You could
True.
pull
That's
that
true.
stuff over. But yeah, it's whatever. The legendary staff is getting a slight nerf with the double spell cast ability. It's getting reduced, and the orc racial is getting changed to spell power instead of spell damage. And then, other than that, there really isn't anything. So,
Yeah. That nerf on the epic or on the legendary rather, I haven't even seen anybody with it to be honest, so I couldn't really tell if that's like.
that's probably because you haven't been on. Some guy in Point Blank does now have it. So,
Well, probably why. Who does what?
Point Blank, some guy. It's a.
Sure.
BYUE, Bowie, boy. I can't.
Yeah.
pronounce it.
I forget what class is he?
I think he's Shadow Priest.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever. Anyways, the orc racial blood fury changing. Well, I didn't know it was spell damage before. It makes sense that it's spell power since it's attack power. So whatever.
Yeah.
Apparently they realized that, oh my god, we have a caster. Warlocks apparently didn't count beforehand.
They don't. Orcs just in general don't count. So.
Now. Anyways, yeah, that whatever. Those are real minor, big deal changes. I'm sure people who actually have that legendary staff are going to be complaining and whatnot, but whatever, suck it up.
Yeah. All right.
So-
So, anything else?
Not on this patch.
Project? Anything else?
Bag search is awesome.
Oh yeah, we're getting bag search. That'll be nice. If anyone uses Bagnon or basically any bag add-on, then they know what the search function is, and we'll have that.
You
That'll
know,
be nice.
I use Bagnon. It's one of the few add-ons I do use, and to be completely honest, I don't use the search function. What I like about it is that I have one giant bag, not 5 little bags.
Yeah.
So,
I've been using that for
and-
6 years, so.
Well, yeah, and the fact that I can mouse over one item, whether it's in the chat log or whether it's in my bag, and I can see who in my list of characters has that item, or have how many of them and where. That's what I like about bag, not the search function. So
I use a program called Ultaholic, and it's got the same thing built in.
well, sorry Blizzard, but they missed the mark on what they wanted to incorporate from that add-on. Personally, bag search was not really it.
I lose stuff a lot. I actually use my bag search function a lot.
Yeah, heirlooms. Oh my god.
I never lose heirlooms. I lose quest items a lot.
Oh yeah, trying to find the right scarab in your bank is doom.
That kind of stuff, yeah.
I don't know. I
So-
guess I don't have that much of an issue with it, but I
Okay.
reorganize my bags a lot. So
Yeah, you pay attention too much.
sorry.
Yep. Or too much on that detail and all that kind of jazz. Alright, well, I guess is that everything that we wanted to talk about?
For now, yeah. I guess next week we can cover the actual class changes and then the user interface changes.
Yeah. And anything else that they add over the next week, which probably won't be there very much. They're probably just fixing bugs right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Alright, well. We still don't have a sign off thing. Oh well. Who needs that? This is an audio cast thing now.
Dun
Nope.
dun 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 dun.
I'll turn some actual music on my iTunes. Let's see, what's a good song that I have over here? Gothic Cowboy, that's a good one.
God, what the? I will not be part of such a gay song.
It's actually a really good song,
God.
but I
Too late,
wish you guys could hear it.
It better be good. Otherwise, I'll post stuff about it being gay.
I wonder if I can find it on YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording.